Yes.
then you spoke a little bit about, your mom taking you to Hollywood when you were 9. So I often ask other artists, was there some instance where you knew this is what you wanted to do? Was it before that trip that you knew you wanted to be a writer, or was that just the, moment?
That was literally it. Like when I got back, I like one of the first things I drew was me at a typewriter with the Hollywood sign in the back.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. That's so
So
amazing.
yeah, I there was something about like Duke Goldberg who was like this great guy. Like yeah, like I had like a Jewish dad for like a week,
I
you
love
know.
that though. That
And as I said, like we were in his old pickup truck just trucking around, and there was something that I found really attractive about Hollywood, but not like I wanted to be a writer. Like that, I think that's the thing that is kind of weird about it
yeah.
was like that inspired me to be a writer. Like I don't know, like you would think like writer, I mean like director, actor, but no, like
I was gonna say,
there,
yeah,
there was something about it. I was just like, I want to be a writer, and like, and which has been a blessing and a curse.
but that's really specific. So, I mean, I think for myself, that sense of knowing what you want to do is really awesome, though, because I do have so many friends and family that for a long time didn't know what they wanted to do. So, I mean, developing your identity around something or shifting your mindset, I think at such an early age, I think there's something really great to be said for that.
Um, yeah, I just well, in a lot of ways, because like the two other things would be like history or genetics, right? So, like in a lot of ways, since I have written science fiction and a lot of the things that I write, no matter what genre, are very historically based, like I'd still get to wrap in like those two fascinations.
Right.
So I guess it kind of worked. I'm just saying that like there are a lot of things that when you're that young, there are a lot of things you end up closing yourself off to.
Hmm.
Um, for like what you're going to be as an adult. Not necessarily, but I did because that's just how I'm built.
So,
Mm.
speaking of that, so would you be able to give a word of advice or maybe some, insight to a young artist or even speak to yourself as a young writer? What would you say to someone who is a young person or a beginning writer?
Well, I mean, for one, I'd say don't decide what you're going to do when you're 9. Because really, like that's yeah, like you should be deciding which cartoon to watch. Like that's kind of real. Um, um, in all honesty, I really think that, this is something I tell my daughter. It's not even art related. I'm like, you are going to be 1,000 different things in your adulthood, so don't stress so much about it because pretty much everybody I went to college with is not in the field that they study. Like, and you just kind of have to like, yeah, like, and they had like this whole huge, youth driven thing, but so many people don't make it till their 40s or 50s or even 60s. It's just real.
Mm,
Um, and then on the arts thing, I'm just like, there's like no money in it. So you have to really want to do it.
right. That
Like
I
you're doing it for other reasons. Maybe to have, like, for me, it was just like I wanted my presence to survive me, right?
wow.
You
It,
know.
I think my why has changed over the years, but initially I think I really just wanted validation from my older siblings. I have 4 older brothers, and then
Uh,
it just turned into something that great gave me so much peace and joy and calm that I continue to do it. Like you said, I really love it, and it's
yeah.
definitely something that you have to love to continue to do. Because yeah, you're not gonna be rich. Uh,
No,
not
I
like
think
a
go
point
ahead.
1% is gonna make money doing it.
Right. Yeah, it's even worse than like capitalism in general, right? Yeah, because it is like, yeah, they have the 1%. Yeah, ours is like, hey, the writers that can make a living like comfortably is like, yeah, that is, you're probably right. It is like probably 0.1%. It's like so few. Because
Yeah.
even people like who you see are really successful are scrambling. And what I tell people is like, I mean, I guess the example is dated now, but you look at Toni Morrison, right? She had won the Pulitzer. She
Mhm.
had won the Nobel Prize. She had been a bestseller for decades. She did not quit her job, her day job, until Oprah said, "Everybody buy Toni Morrison's books."
Wow. You know,
Like that. So, like, success in the arts looks a lot sexier. It was sort of like, and that was the other thing that I was thinking about before was, your success is probably not going to look like what you dreamt it was, right?
right.
So, I dreamt of being like this internationally famous writer or whatever. And then what I realized was, well, I'm not that. However, there are pockets around the world who know who I am, right? Like there's, like, and like as a writer, as a publisher, like, yeah, there are pockets around the world. So like, and there are people or like publishers and stuff I can just hit up and say, hey, are we going to work together or not? Or can we work together or whatever? So in a way, I did kind of like basically achieve what I wanted, but it does not look at all like, yeah,
The glamour
like
is
like what I
swag.
had dreamt it was going to be. You know what I mean?
No, for sure. That's real.
Yeah, but
See,
I mean, I did what I set out to accomplish. I did.
so
And
speaking of people knowing who you are and
that,
being
that
able to
doesn't
have
sound
those
right. But go ahead. Yeah.
and
No,
having those
what's my like? What's my motherfucking name? It's not like that.
stop I'm Rick James, bitch. Um,
Right.
but, but speaking of that too, do you feel like I know your audience has changed as you've developed as a writer, but is there something surprising about who your books are reaching now, or has your audience changed in a way that you didn't think about?
No, not really. Um, Well, if you're around long enough, you know that readers come in all shapes and sizes, whatever. So you're always going to have like this kind of, you know, um, well, not always, but most artists are going to have like a wide range of people who like what they do.
Right.
Um, like how big or how wide that is. I think the thing that is not so much, I would say it's like, because last year I ended up hand selling a lot. And there were two things that did surprise me. One thing that kind of surprised me a little bit until I thought about it was like our core audience is basically women in their 20s and 30s. But like the overwhelming majority of our readers are in their 20s and 30s.
Wow.
Um, and it is all over the place, even though there are definitely rankings in that. Like white women and black women are probably like tied for first.
Okay.
And then like the interesting thing is the third one would probably be black men, but they're actually older.
I can see that.
Younger black men aren't necessarily terribly interested in what we do because of the manga thing. Yeah, because so many manga readers only read manga.
Right. Right.
Um, and then yeah, then it's like Latinos, and it kind of goes on from there, right? So like that kind of doesn't surprise me since we do publish people from all around the world. But
Right.
I think like, and as I said, like the 20s and 30s thing makes sense now when you think about it, because that's when the stigma for genre fiction and comics and stuff kind of went away.
Yeah.
Because for like the last 20 years that was just mainstream culture.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes sense. I think the thing that surprised me most about it, the thing that like keeps me going, is how many people are inspired by what we're doing.
Mm,
Because it is a black publisher and it is brown folks and it is international. Like, I just see people like, I never conceived like something like that could happen.
right.
And like, that's the thing that gets me. Like, I've just had so many people, especially younger people, going like, "Oh my God." And older people too. Like, that's where you get like the older black men. Like, they're the ones that are like, this is really inspiring. Like, thank you for doing what you're doing. Like, I think that's the thing that surprised me most.
No, it's super inspiring, Bill. I
Yeah.
think when I first met you, it didn't really click until I was in Artist Against Police Brutality. It didn't click. Oh my God, this is super like I don't. I think I've met one other black publisher, independent black publisher, and so I was. That's when it kind of hit me. It was overwhelming that, oh my god, this is super super needed and super important, and it's done correctly. It's done right. It's not. You know what I mean? Like a
Right.
lot of times we take that stuff for granted, especially as creative as artists, and specifically drawers, painters. Like we take it for granted that there will be an outlet that gets us and that will have space for us until you are in it and you're like, oh, this is
Yeah.
kind of rare air and this is special. So no, it is super inspiring and I definitely give you your flowers because a
Thank
lot
you.
of people don't stick with it, and you've done such an amazing job of producing books, publishing books every year, outstanding books, not just, I'm just going to put something out, but really well thought out artist or creator driven work. And that's the big 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 difference, is that the creators are involved in the process and you give a voice to so many people that, like you said, not necessarily just because they're black or brown, but because they have interesting things to say and a unique point of view, and we just
Yes.
aren't getting that from
I
mainstream.
think that was like the important. Well, what I tell people is like, I am very much pro us, whatever that tribe is, right? Because it's a tribe that has a certain through line of which you're a part, right? Like it's just like it has a certain through line that people
Yeah.
wouldn't necessarily see if you put us all in one room, right?
Yeah.
But I was just like, but if it helps you to think about it, think of us as like anti-diversity, right? Because like diversity says we're people of color when we're like 93% of humanity, right? Like
Hmm.
there are like twice as many people in India as there are white people on the planet, right? But then they're always like, oh, this, that, and the other thing. And what diversity does is like it checks boxes off, right? It literally says that you are not an authentic whatever.
You're right.
But if you take away that and just go like, there's diversity in the world that is, and like, and we're trying to represent the world that is, all kinds of people have all kinds of interesting ideas and all kinds of levels of talent, and they're writing and drawing and pontificating about all kinds of things
Yes, exactly.
all around the world. So that's the kind of things that you're kind of looking for, right? It's just like these people are doing all kinds of, like, a tale of truths, right? Like, Barrett is a Korean Norwegian writer, and she wrote a fantasy about the birth of European science, right?
Yeah.
The box of bones, it's basically about killing white folks, right? Like it's just like you can, and like that end of the world is right is like Mormon fantasy or whatever, but it's really funny. Like, and so I'm not trying to go like, ooh, who don't we have now? Let me
Right.
get one of those. Like, it's not that. It's just like here is a work of art, right?
Yes.
And it is really good. It kind of fits into like what we're doing. It's just people, because like people can talk about whatever they want, and if you execute it in a way that really speaks to us, then we know ultimately it will speak to other people.
Exactly.
Like so we can't have stuff from like Mexico or Uganda or Ghana coming up, or South Africa, whatever it is, right? But it is sort of like a through line when you read it, no matter how differently it is, and it's literally that what you were saying, right? It's just like there's just a certain kind of like you're not really getting this, and that's
Mhm.
because people are checking boxes, and like when you look at these industries, they're from like a very rarefied air, right? It's just like mostly white, mostly from like, top 10, top 20 universities and stuff like that, of a certain class.
Mm,
So it's just sort of like you have like this really small pocket of people who don't really have um a lot of experience with other people.
mm,
But
exactly.
they get to define how other people, like, like none of us get to see ourselves when it comes to popular media, right? None of us get to see ourselves or other people except through the white mediated gaze. So like
Wow.
my thing is like if we're for us, then we don't need that gaze.
Exactly.
So then who's working in I was gonna say that milieu. Where,
Pinky
where
up. Pinky up.
where they're not concerned about the white mediated gaze. And that's kind of like what you're looking for, right? It's like people who aren't concerned about that.
For sure.
Because that's sort of like that's when the things that don't need to be explained.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Like you're highlighting the things that don't need to be explained. And if you don't understand it, you either go for the ride or you don't.
Exactly. No, for sure. And speaking of that, what doesn't need to be explained, do you think, and this is very controversial, not controversy as in, oh, it's a no no, but I got so many desperate answers to this. Do you think art is politically inherently, or do you think that making art to a specific voice makes it political or a specific topic? Uh, can you talk a little bit about your personal perspective on art as being political?
Well, I mean, usually when people complain about art being political, it's like basically just giving them a slant that they're not familiar with or uncomfortable with, right? But when you look at anything that like, I mean, all of it is political, right? Because it's based on like these different assumptions, right?
Mm,
So they're complaining about things that like either play with or mess with those assumptions or run counter to those assumptions. And then therefore they're like, oh, this isn't, it's like people are like, when did Star Trek get woke? And you're like literally from the inception,
yep.
but you're used to it, right? And then like by the time you hit it, a lot of the things that they're talking about, have become the political assumptions, right? Um, so many superheroes about being persecuted, right? And that violence is the answer. They're all Malcolm X. uh, but um, but you know what I mean. So like if I'm watching the Waltons, right? It's like this is like an all white prairie, in a time that wasn't all white at all. Or Bonanza, it's like white cowboys. Well, there were very few white cowboys. Like these are very much political messages,
Oh
right?
gosh, yeah.
He's like, oh, remember when or my favorite is look at the Andy Griffith show, right? Like that is like literally an all-white southern town. Like, was it a sundown town? Like there are no black people. Where in the South are you? You know what I mean? It's like you're like, it's like, oh yeah, every time it's filming, we kick them out of town. You know what I mean? And it's like this nice, congenial, just very like, oh gee, Willikers like South, while like literally in Mississippi, they were burning down
Burning,
houses like all around, like
burning,
burning all of the black neighborhoods down,
all of
like
it.
all of them, just fires going on in the middle of the day. Like,
Wow.
how is that? I mean, that's insanely political. So,
Yeah,
like that. So for me, like, it's always like a weird argument because, yeah, things are because you're commenting on society. Even if you were just trying to like for shits and giggles have fun, these are still like cultural messages, political, socio-political messages that
right,
you're probably reinforcing,
right, right.
right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always blown away by that. I mean, I think the most glaring thing in our recent past is the TV show Friends and how people are like, "That's New York City? There's literally no brown or black people in that whole that whole spiel."
Yeah, yeah.
But
It's all of it. I mean, it's all of it. You know, and there's nothing. It was sort of like during the George Floyd thing, and for a brief minute, Hollywood was just like, "Ooh, maybe we shouldn't portray cops like that."
ah,
And you're like, right, like the cop drama, like totally reinforces like just the authoritarian police are wrong. Oh, sometimes you just have to break the rules, kind of thing. Like I forget, was it what was that? Special Victims Unit, SVU, with Elliot, right? Like we were watching that. I was like, he literally beats the hell out of every single suspect.
I just say, but that's every cop show.
Yeah, like there's just like, yeah, like you need to beat people in the interrogation room. You're like, that's literally against the law. Like,
Every cop show.
but that is an insanely political message that it constantly gets reinforced, right? They're constantly showing us as criminals, even though technically speaking, because we are not the biggest criminal
Right.
population. However, since you have these cultural messages, you get to throw us in jail a lot more than the others
Yeah.
because you're constantly showing us in this light,
Wow.
even if like very few of us are doing it. I mean, just look at what the current administration's doing. Chicago's this, Chicago's that. I was like, I went to college in Chicago when there's like 1,200 murders a year. Like, I go there down now and I'm like, do do do.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
like
it's crime.
all
I
of
mean,
it.
crime is so down in all these urban areas, but
Oh yeah, like it's insanely less. There is so much less crime than when I was growing up. It's like insane.
it's insane.
It's like yeah, it's like the safest it's been since like 1910 or something crazy. It's like that. Like, but so to that was a long answer to like basically you can't avoid being political. So then it's just a matter of like your intention and what you're trying to actually say.
Right. No. I mean, also speak to a little bit. I think I asked other folks during the pandemic, during lockdown, we implemented so many different things to get around it. And do you think there's one thing that you feel like we should still continue to do? I think one of the biggest things that I loved is so many things that moved online that now are accessible to me. That if I couldn't travel, now I could still see a concert or be part of a convention because it's all programmed online. Is there something that you think we should continue to do?
That's a really good question because I am not sure. Like I think I told you my daughter's getting ready to graduate high school and go on to college, and I think the only thing the thing that I think the pandemic showed us is pretty much what Black folks have always known. You gotta always look for like different angles and how to survive.
Mm,
And like the pandemic was like a very interesting experiment in that. Like, oh, society shut down, yet there were all these different ways in which people adapted. And I think now, probably even more so than the pandemic, because we don't know how long this is going to last. Like that constant adaptability,
yeah, so that's
that's probably the lesson.
wow, that's key. And yeah, no one said that, and I think that is very true.
I'm
Especially
very good at saying things that nobody else says.
but to your point, though, now that are, you know, forced to either return to in-person work or in-person everything. That yeah, how are we handling it? Um, Not only just physically but psychologically, it's just socially like I've talked to so many people that feel like they're out of practice socially, out of practice dealing.
Really? Even now?
Oh yeah, because especially mothers who stayed home or now staying home and they don't go out that much. I mean that's the feedback that I'm getting.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, I mean, the only interactions I have with people is like when I'm out. So, like, so yeah. So,
But I can see too if you're introverted that it's even more difficult now if you were in lockdown for several like 2 or 3 years and then you already didn't want to go out and you have to.
yeah, no, I can definitely see all these different things. I was just kind of curious because, they tried to impose the new normal on us back in 2023. So, like, yeah, it was like 2 years ago. So that's why I was just like, still, you know.
Yeah,
But then again, like as a Black publisher, I always have to be highly adaptable, right? So,
yeah.
because I'm operating in a system that does not want me.
And speaking of that, is there something that you do every day? I ask other folks, do you have a daily practice, either writing? I know some people want to write a minimum number of words a day. Some people want to exercise every day. I like to sketch every day. Is there something that you do daily?
The closest thing I do is like have dinner with my family.
Nice. And well, that's big. I mean, a
That's
lot of people,
huge.
yeah, a lot of
Well,
people.
something that I grew up with my mom and stepdad, so and I can kind of see where it's like really important. So that's because literally, Rosarium is bigger than I am. So it takes up like I'm doing the job of like a lot of different people. Like I have more help now, but even still, like it just takes up all your day. And it's like somebody quoted, like the urgent always takes precedent over the important. So
Right,
you're always just kind of scrambling around every day.
right. So
You know.
before we wrap it up and run out of time, we're almost close. What you got coming up next? And shout out your social media.
Rosarium Pub is Instagram. I think Rosarium Publishing is YouTube. I want to say it's Rosarium Pub for TikTok. I just got somebody who's going to start doing your TikTok. So like, because as my daughter said, I'm an old. And like when she saw like some of those videos, like, do you even look at TikTok? And I'm like, no, because I
No.
don't like it. And I'm like, you're right, because I'm a novelist, I'm a storyteller, so I structure things as stories, right? I'm like so, and that's not TikTok at all. Like that's like you got a second, impress me in a second. So there's that. Creatively, I'm supposed to be working on a little Lion Man thing again because we are probably going to continue that universe with Robert Love, and then on the publishing side, we have a novel and stories coming up by Kathleen Alcala. It's like our first kind of mundane thing. Uh, Young Chicana in Los Angeles, just trying to like live her life and as a single woman. Then we have an epic fantasy coming out from Ghana next year.
Wow.
And then we have another fantasy coming from South Africa, and a book of short stories, fantasy short stories from the Philippines. And then there's a couple other things that haven't quite been signed yet.
Nice. Well,
But
oh, go ahead.
no, yeah. Oh, and then like, John is working on another Blue Hand Mojo.
Sweet. No, I want to just thank you so much before we run out of time and Zoom kicks us out. I
Oh, yeah.
appreciate you sitting down with me so much. I think you're amazing. I think your publishing is amazing, but just as a, you know, just as a person who's in the publishing, writing, book field, like I said, we often don't get folks to look up to, and I definitely look up to you and appreciate you.
Thank you.
As a
I
mentor.
appreciate it. And thanks for thinking of me
Of course, always.
to do this.
I
Yeah.
was super impressed when I met you and just I haven't seen you at BCAF for a while, so I was like, let's hit up Bill and see what he's
Yeah.
talking about. You always have an amazing sense of humor too.
Going to California, because especially since I have to ship things like through the distributor and stuff, it's just such a pain in the ass.
Got got
Like, it's
got
such
All
a pain.
right. No, I got to ship stuff for a couple events, and it's not fun because you worry if it's gonna get there.
Well, for us, it's just sort of like internal charges, and then just like to have to ship stuff back, and it's just like it's a
Oh,
lot.
well, hopefully you sell it all. You don't have to ship nothing back.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, right? Because as a business person, I think that it's a failure if I sell out.
Oh, because you didn't plan properly.
Right.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
So then you always bring more, which is just dumb because you don't want to sell out, right? So, and you never know what crowd is going to be into what at any given time. So,
That is the crazy part.
because it does change, especially since you know, our catalog is so disparate. Like there's sometimes where you go to a place and this book is the thing, and then another place is
Sure.
another one. And
Oh, it's the craziest thing to try to figure out. You can drive yourself crazy doing that.
yeah, I try not to,
Yeah,
but
me too.
yeah.
Well,
All
anyway,
right.
thank you so much. Appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
Have a great evening
Yeah, yeah. We'll run into each other soon.
for sure. Thanks a lot.